So last class we saw the verse which was the transition from one topic to another. So we will read that verse first. That is verse number 39. Then we will proceed. So let us first read the verse. Esha te bihita sankhye buddhir yoge tvimam shrunu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. So we saw this verse in the last class. So here Krishna says, Arjuna, so far I have told you about Sankhya. Sankhya basically means Atma. Sankhya yoga. I have discussed in detail about the Atma. Now listen to Karma Yoga from me. So actually, like I said last class also, the teaching starts from verse number 12 of second chapter and ends with verse number 25. So that is the main teaching. So if somebody has understood this, they don't need to proceed further. But if Arjuna could not understand, how can we? So definitely it needs some elaboration. So from verse 30 to 38, it was more about Krishna goading Arjuna to fight the war by various, so he was urging Arjuna to fight the war, giving him various reasons, the ethical reason and then the laukika, the worldly view, why he should fight. So with that, the first main topic was over. Now Krishna says, having told you about the Atma, now let me talk to you about Karma Yoga. So this is going to be the next topic which he is going to discuss in detail. So what is Karma Yoga? It is not an alternative to what he has taught so far. It is not that instead of Jnana Yoga which he had discussed so far, there is another path called Karma Yoga which also will lead you to moksha. So Jnana Yoga was meant for moksha, but Karma Yoga which he is going to discuss now, it is not meant for directly for moksha. Karma Yoga is a preparation for the mind to understand Jnana Yoga. So sometimes even in other subjects also, to understand a subject we need some preparation. The subject itself, for example, maths is difficult for some people find it easy. Maths by itself is neither easy nor difficult. For a prepared mind, maths may feel easy. For an unprepared mind, maths may feel difficult. So basic thing is to prepare the mind. So as we, even in our normal studies, if you want to do post-graduation, you need to qualify in your graduation. So you need a minimum graduation to go for post-graduation. You cannot directly go from finish your school and then go for direct post-graduation. So you need preparation. So same thing with Jnana Yoga also. Jnana Yoga is the ultimate yoga meant for liberation or moksha. So there is no alternative to that. If you want moksha, you have to you have to go through Jnana Yoga. So that is the only way, because the whole problem is because of ignorance. ignorance of the self, and ignorance can only be removed by knowledge. There is no other way you can remove ignorance. Whatever other means you try, they are not going to remove your ignorance. So then why this Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga helps you to prepare the mind for Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga, like for example, or as per the Shastras, Vedas are the source for everything. They form the foundation of our Shastras. And as we know, Vedas are broadly divided into two parts, the Karma Kanda and the Jnana Kanda. Karma Kanda is meant for all kinds of rituals, action oriented. Karma means action. So anything which you do is karma. So Karma Kanda deals with all rituals, everything, how you should live, everything is described in detail. The end part of the Vedas we call as Vedanta. Veda Anta means the end part of the Vedas. It is also called as Upanishad. So that part is the knowledge part. For knowledge, you need to have a clear mind for knowledge to take place. So the whole process is to clear the mind, so that when you listen to the knowledge part, the knowledge gets embedded in your mind. So Jnana Yoga is the ultimate, but Karma Yoga prepares you for Jnana Yoga. So that is very clear. So we need to first understand it's not an alternative. So what Krishna is going to talk now is not an alternative at all. So that is the first thing we have to be very clear. So people can't say, okay, because now there is a lot of confusion. People think that, especially in Kali Yuga, they say Jnana Yoga will not work. Only Bhakti Yoga and other types of yoga, people have different types of yoga which they say they are the only alternatives, because Jnana Yoga is not possible in Kali Yuga. Probably true, because in Kali Yuga our minds are involved in so many things that our mind is not ready for Jnana Yoga. But Jnana Yoga in any yoga is the only way to attain moksha. So in Kali Yuga, probably the minds are more disturbed than in other yogas. So we have to prepare our mind through Karma Yoga. Now, any other yoga comes under Karma Yoga only. Anything to do with action, whether it is Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, people give different names of different types of yoga. Everything comes under action. So everything is Karma Yoga. So when you say Karma Yoga, it is not that you are going to do something different. It is not that, okay, I am going to do Karma Yoga, so I should do something related to Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is nothing but doing the same thing, but with a shift in attitude. It's just the same kind of things that you have been doing. It is not that you are going to do something different. Oh, I am going. In fact, when I did my yoga teachers training course, in the ashram, they have a schedule, like morning you have a yoga session, then after that there is a Karma Yoga session for 1 hour. So there Karma Yoga means you do some work in the ashram. You are assigned some task, cleaning this or teaching something to somebody, or some task you take up, and they call it Karma Yoga. But basically, by doing that, you are not going to do Karma Yoga unless your attitude is changed. So any activity you do, if your attitude changes, it becomes Karma Yoga. Attitude change means basically you are not worried about the results. When you do any activity without worrying about the results, it becomes Karma Yoga. Same activity, if you work for results, it is not, it is just plain karma. So that is the basic difference. So karma yoga is nothing but it makes a person fit for jnana yoga. It prepares the mind for jnana yoga. So the process of attaining moksha is do karma yoga, purify the mind, go to jnana yoga, gain jnanam and gain moksha. So that is the process. So you cannot, even in like karma kanda and jnana kanda, if you take in the Vedas, somebody can say, okay, I will straight away go to jnana kanda, I am not interested in this karma kanda. Without doing karma kanda, you cannot attain the mind to understand jnana yoga, because only when you do action, the whole process of polishing your likes and dislikes, and by going through karma kanda, you realize that you can, if you follow to the letter all the rituals, everything that is given in the shastras, you will attain whatever you want. Everything you want, wealth, you want family, you want education, you want this. There are rituals meant for everything, and if you do them properly, there is no doubt you will attain those things. But after attaining, you will still realize there is something missing. That is the time, having gone through all this, then you realize I am still not happy. Because the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is that peace of mind doesn't depend on what you have, but what you are. So that is what you will realize only when you have something, you will realize whether it is worth or not. So karma kanda is important for you to get that. And once you get that only, you will realize that having got everything, still I don't have that peace of mind. You have attained everything, the worldly things that you wanted, but you still don't have peace of mind. But without going through that, how will you know? So you have to go through the grind, so to say, to get to that point where you feel, yes, I have done whatever is to be done, I have still not attained that peace of mind. Now I am ready for the next part. So how do I attain the peace of mind? So karma yoga is what prepares you for jnana yoga. So this is in general about karma yoga. Now let us move to the first verse connected to this, which is verse number 40. So let us read verse number 40. Neha bhikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapsyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Here Krishna starts the discussion on karma yoga by glorifying karma yoga, because before going into the details of karma yoga, he is telling the glory of karma yoga, so that people will get interested. If you tell all the problems of karma yoga first, people will not even think of understanding karma yoga. So first you should understand what are the benefits of karma yoga. So first is, in karma yoga there is nothing called failure. Any other karma you take, you may succeed or you may not succeed. You may put in lot of effort, you may give your best, but there is no guarantee that you will succeed. you may have followed all the required things, but there is no guarantee that you will succeed. So there is always the fear of failure in whatever karma you do. But when it comes to karma yoga, there is nothing called failure, because you are not looking at a result at all. So the success or failure is normally associated with the result. Suppose you do business, you do well, you become a millionaire or whatever, or even in your career, in any this thing, it is success is determined by the wealth that you have got, the property that you have got. So success, and if you don't get that, even if you have everything else, people will term you to be a failure. So any activity, there is always success or failure. But in karma yoga, Krishna says, you don't worry about failure at all, because you are not expecting any result at all. You are not working with any result in mind. The whole idea is to purify the mind. So if you so there is no way you can measure success or failure. There is no need to measure success or failure. So karma yoga is just doing without worrying about the result. Not that you don't expect result, without accepting whatever results come. So you are not bound by any kind of need to look at the result. Oh, I put in all this effort, will I get the result that I desire? You are doing an activity just for the sake of doing. You are helping somebody because you feel you can help them. You are doing any activity because you feel like doing it. So there is no pressure, oh, if I do this, will I get something out of it? The moment we start thinking, we look at, oh, will the result be in tune, or will it be proportionate to the effort I put? So first we ask, for anything we ask, what will I get out of it? If somebody says, why don't you do this? So the first thing is, what will I get out of it? So if I don't get anything out of it, then why should I put in that effort? When it comes to karma yoga, I am doing because I just want to do. If results come, good. If they don't come also, I am not bothered. So that is the attitude of karma yoga. So that is why there is nothing called failure in karma yoga. You cannot fail. The second one is, there is no adverse results. You may get adverse results in any, if you do a business, you may get profit or you may get loss. Suppose you have a disease, you take medicine. Either you get cured or you don't get cured. Or sometimes you even get side effects. You may have some other, you get out of one problem and you get into another problem. Because nowadays that is very common, especially when people take antibiotics and steroids and all that. There's every chance you get out of one particular problem that you have, but after some time you get into another problem. So always there are adverse effects. When it comes to karma yoga, there is no possibility of an adverse effect, because again you are not looking at any result. Only when you look at the result, you will think whether it will be positive or negative. Since you are not looking at any result, there is no adverse effect. So you need not worry, okay, suppose I do this, will I get the result I want? What will happen if it goes the other way around? So there is no possibility at all, because you are not looking at anything. you're not looking at what you're going to get out of it, except for mental purification. So the whole process is to clean the mind. So the mind is flowing always. So if you want to see something in it, it's like a river. If you want to see your image in the river, it is impossible because the water is always flowing. But in a pond which is still, you can see the face. So if you want to see the image in any medium, take a mirror. If the mirror is completely clouded with smoke or dust, can you see your image? You cannot. Same way, we are not able to see the Atma because the mind is covered with layers of dust, soot, and all kinds of things. So simply put, if you want to see the Atma, all this, if you want to see your face in the mirror, which is covered with dust and other things, you have to clean the mirror. That is the only way you can see. Same thing, if you want to see the Atma, you have to clean the mind. The dust accumulated on the mind has to be removed for you to see the Atma. So it's very simple. And the process of cleaning this mirror is called Karma Yoga. A mirror, you can take a piece of cloth and wipe it. Similarly, what should be done to clean this mind? He is going to explain in coming verses, because more than Karma Yoga, more than Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga is the most difficult part. Jnana Yoga just requires your mind to be available. The knowledge will happen instantly. But unless the mind is available, you cannot attain Jnana Yoga. Even in regular day-to-day things, for example, a farmer is sowing. So first he prepares the ground. Then only he plants the seeds. So without preparing the ground, if he plants the seeds, nothing is going to grow, or only weeds will grow. But having planted the seeds, is it sure that he is going to get the crop that he wants? There are so many external conditions. The watering has to be correct. There should not be excess of water. Suddenly there is an unseasonal rain, the crops get destroyed. Sometimes there is no rain, the crops get destroyed. Sometimes there is a cyclone, so you have already planted, say, banana trees, banana plants, and one storm, all those plants are gone. So, other than what is to be done, you also need something what is called as God's grace. So even for achieving this knowledge, you may do Karma Yoga, you may understand Jnana Yoga, but without God's grace, both these are also not possible. So basic thing, these things are in our hand, but God's grace also you have to, for that you need prayer. So prayer is the only way to attain God's grace. So doing Karma Yoga, gaining knowledge through Jnana Yoga can happen, but the end result depends on God's grace. So constantly, whenever we do anything, that prayer is a must, so that there is no alternative. So that is again an important factor which we need to understand. Again, Lord Krishna says the result will be proportionate to your effort. Even if you put in a little effort, you will definitely gain some benefit. In any other activity, unless you complete that activity, you will not gain the result. Until you write the exam, you cannot write exam, okay, I'll read one chapter and write the exam. Definitely you are not going to pass. You have to study the entire subject. Any other activity, unless you complete that activity, the result will not happen at all. There is no chance of gaining a result, because the activity, when you are expecting a result, there is a process, and that process has to be completed, without which the result, you cannot expect the result. But when it comes to karma yoga, whatever little bit effort you put, definitely proportionate to that, little purification of the mind will happen. Because you are putting that effort solely for the purification of the mind. For example, just to explain further, suppose somebody is having a lot of problems, or he wants to gain a lot of things. He goes to some priest or some astrologer. Now, looking at his chart, everything, the astrologer says, if you want to get whatever you want, you should chant Vishnu Sahasranamam every day for say 108 days. If you do that, definitely you will get the result. Now, this person, if he has to achieve that, he has to chant without fail for 108 days. Even 107 days will not do. And even in the chanting, he cannot make a mistake. He has to chant it perfectly for 108 days to get the result. So there, when you want a particular result and you are doing something for that, you have to do it that right way and completely. You cannot say, okay, I did 100 times, but I didn't have the time to do 108, so I should get proportionate benefit. No, you will not get any benefit. Because once you commit to that, you have to complete. There is no choice. But when it comes to karma yoga, you don't have to worry. You don't have to make any such commitment. You can chant 108 times, you can chant even once, or you can chant even a few lines, even one out of 1,000 names. Even if you chant one name, definitely you are going to get some benefit. Even if you make a mistake sometime in chanting, it is not taken as a mistake, because your intention is pure. Your intention is to gain purity of the mind. So when you do with that attitude, whatever you do will definitely give you benefit, proportionate. The more effort you put, definitely the result will be better. So the whole process of karma yoga is to clear the mind. See, we all are flowing like the river. We just flow along with the things that are happening. We just flow along. And we just flow. Finally, the river ends up in the ocean. So we are all flowing. Definitely, there will be an end sometime. And then again we start. Now, having understood the importance of self-knowledge, as Krishna has discussed, the goal is clear. So if you have clearly defined the goal, my goal is to attain moksha, my goal is to attain mukti, freedom, whatever name you call it. Once you have fixed that, how do you proceed next? So you cannot go along with the flow like everybody. So probably you will have to turn against the flow. So the process of Karma Yoga starts when you go against the flow, keeping the goal in mind. Now, going against the flow will always be more difficult. It is not going to be easy to go against the flow. Try standing, if you are in a big queue, like maybe in Tirupati or someplace. Imagine there's a big queue and you are somewhere in the middle, and suddenly for some reason, maybe you have a call of nature, some sudden requirement, you want to come out of the queue. Imagine how difficult it will be with people coming in, you are trying to get out. Imagine the kind of obstacles you will come across too, but you have an urgency to get out of that place. Here, once you set the goal, you are moving towards that, you are moving against the flow, but obstacles are bound to come. But if your goal is clear, you are bound to get there. That is what Krishna assures as he comes in the later part of Gita. Once you decide that you are going to attain that goal, you start going against the flow. No matter what happens, whether in this Janma or in some other Janma, you will start in the same place where you let off. So that is the assurance he gives. So the idea is to go against the tide. Because everybody is going with the flow, we all go with the flow, but we don't know where we are going to end. Once you have decided you are going against the flow, that is where you have started your journey. Because now your goal is clear, the obstacles are going to be many. It's not going to be easy. Definitely when you go against the flow, like in another example you can take is the local trains in Bombay. If you have ever traveled, suppose you get in at some station and the station where you want to get off is approaching. A local person knows how to get out without any problem. So what you should do is, you know the crowd which is waiting to get out, you just become part of that. And when the train stops, you just go along with them. You don't try to resist. You will be just ejected out of the train without any effort. But if you try and find another way, you will find people who are trying to get in, they will push you back into the train. So you will not get out where you want to. So sometimes we have to go along with the flow, but to reach the goal, you have to go against the flow sometimes, not sometimes, that's the only way. In fact, you might have seen in rivers, there is some whirlpool. In certain parts of the river, you will find whirlpool. Actually, they say the river is trying to go back to its source at that particular point. So, those places are considered very holy. Wherever the river tries to take a U-turn and go back, so that's where the whirlpool forms. So basically, Karma Yoga is nothing but going against the flow. But once you decide to take that, you are on your journey. You are on the right path. It is going to be a very difficult journey. But the goal is very clear. So the river is flowing down from the mountain. The river wants to go back to the mountain. The mountain should be in your eyes. The mountain is moksha. I want moksha at any cost. The more your desire to attain that, the more you will be able to handle the obstacles in an easier way. If you think, okay, let me see if I am able to go some distance, it is fine. Good. The idea is to first turn against the flow. Once you have done that, you are definitely in the right path. You may take more time. The obstacles will sometimes make you think whether you are in the right path. You may want to again, oh, why should I do this? Let me go back. But he assures you that none of the effort that you have put is going to go waste. So that is what Karma Yoga is all about. Even that little effort you have put is going to help you, if not in this Janma, in the next Janma you are definitely going to move further. It doesn't matter how many Janmas you are going to take. It may happen, that depends on your intensity, how intense your desire for moksha is. The more intense it is, the more likely you are going to attain that sooner than later. So this is the introduction to Karma Yoga, where Krishna glorifies Karma Yoga, so that once we understand the importance of Karma Yoga, we will be able to put our mind on that. So basically we have to shift our attitude from karma to Karma Yoga, from result oriented action to action for the sake of action, for the purification of the mind. So this is what is the goal now. Further, what Krishna says, we are going to see in the next class.